Everything cool, Extreme? No, not at the moment. What you say, Nicholas? This isn't my deck. I feature in someone deck, so I just playing with theirs. This is supposed to be their rank 4 deck, so I have to bear with this. Short intermission so I can answer a message. No. No. I mean, it's a really good card if you're trying to cause your opponent deck out, but, no, I don't have a deck with that at the moment. I haven't gotten a chance yet. Probably tomorrow I'll search it. No earthly idea who that is. Yalan, I so lost. You gotta be a little more specific. I do have a lot of interactions with, you know, many different people, so it's kind of hard to like try to keep up all the time. Yeah, I kind of was supposed to do that from my summon Scarlight. That actually was supposed to be in 101 from then, before the Mirror Force even came into play, but you know, it's not my deck, so I can misplay. I do apologize, that duel should not have lasted that long. Hell yeah, what do you mean if I watch Naruto? What kind of question is that? Only a dead man doesn't watch Naruto. Yeah, thanks. At least me and you feel the same way. You gotta thank my opponent for that. Well, we're closing in on that 1 hour mark for playing with someone else's deck. So this will most likely be the last one, and then I'll give you guys my opinion on what I think about this deck. Well, that wraps that up. Alright guys, this is Nadeemknight's rank 4 deck. He runs 1 Dark Hole, 2 Instant Fusion, 2 Monster Slots, 2 MSTs, 1 Potadictomy, 1 Regeki, 1 Reinforcements at Army, 1 Soul Charge, 1 Upstart, 1 Bottomless, and the card that is law in this game, 3 Solemn Strikes, 1 Warning, Trap Tricks, Trap Hole, Nightmare, 1 Genex Ali, Birdman, 2 Ghost Ogres, which are really neat to be able to counter. Well, as you saw inside that mixed deck, it had Psy frames and all kind of other shenanigans mixed up together. 2 Goblin the Bird, 3 Gigabyte, Lila, 2 Lilas, 1 Mask Chameleon, 2 Maxies, 1 Performance Trick Clown, 2 Photon Thrashers, 1 Sacred Crane, 3 Star Drawings, one of the MVPs of the deck. Love making those Exceed players drawing 1, especially when you going into King of Feral Imps. You get to draw 1 and then add Gigabyte or Mask Chameleon from the deck to the hand, which is awesome. And 2 Summoner Monks, which is also awesome. Combo in Summoner Monk, ditching a spell card to either get Sacred Crane or Star Drawing to draw an additional card. So you can go Summon a Monk, pitch a spell, get Sacred Crane or Star Drawing, and off Sacred Crane immediately you draw 1 card, and then when you exceed summon with Star Drawing, you then draw additional card. So if you go into this play with King of Feral Imps, you get to draw 1 and then add a Gigabyte from your deck to your hand. So mainly what you did is you played 2 cards and then replaced those 2 cards. So what you actually did is put a 2300 beta on board with 2 cards and then replace 2 cards. So you actually went +1 in that situation while thinning out your deck by 2. In the extra deck he runs 1 Norden, 1000 Eyes Restrict. I wasn't in a situation where I needed this. I almost thought I would have against that Time Lord. If I couldn't have gone into Castell. He also runs 1 Moonlight Dragon, 1 Scarlight, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Castell, 1 Emerald, 1 Dark Rebellion, 2 King of Feral Imps, which is excellent like I told you with that combo earlier, 1 101, 1 Ragnar Zero, 1 Berserk, Heartland Draco, and 1 Rafflesia. It really does has a lot of potential to make some really decent counters. Like I told you guys in previous videos, like the 4 hand traps that are most effective that I've seen in this game are double Moxie, double Ghost Ogre inside a deck, and then you can combo that with like any 16 card selection based on what you want your deck to do. Because when you look at it, Moxie, it really either your opponent is going to allow you to draw a bunch of cards, or they're gonna stop from building that, you know, or aspiring board that's supposed to lock you out of the duel if you only had 5 to 6 cards to play. But with Moxie, if they allow you to pick up half your deck, only so much they can negate, and they already know that they would be at a disadvantage if you have anywhere from about 10 or more cards in hand. Then you can like go off on them, especially if you pick up multiple copies of like Dark Hole or Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. If you run into your Kaijus, you can then start opening their lock. So Moxie really is handy, especially if your opponent is opening up first turn and you're opening up second. Well, you know, it just depends on what combinations that they are going to go into that they deem necessary. Because in that last duel, when my opponent tried to open up an Moxie, immediately when they 1-for-1 and only brought the stone, they stopped special summoning, which I knew that they were supposed to actually open up even bigger than that, but they didn't want me drawing more cards, so it just stopped their card play immediately with that 1 special summon. That was it. I had no huge board I had to worry about, and then I went off on them, sending the stone back to the deck so that no dragon comes, leaving them with about 2300 life points or something like that, and it put them in a situation where they had to surrender. So in that same last duel, Moxie really saved the day. Ghost Ogre, like I said, double Maxi, double Ghost Ogre being able to be chained to monster effects. You have to be careful when chaining this effect so that you don't chain it to your own monster effect when it goes off. And especially with a monster that's really troublesome to deal with, such as Psyframe Lord Omega, what you want to do is, that's why I was saving the Ghost Ogre in hand. I was actually waiting out for a Psyframe Lord Omega so that during the standby phase, when it would place a monster that's banished into his graveyard, I can trigger her effect in response. Because it's the standby phase and not the main phase, when Ghost Ogre effect is then triggered, Omega cannot banish itself to banish a card out your hand because it's not the main phase. So you can then pop the Omega, and you would have to literally wait till your opponent can summon another one. But that is how you pop Omega on the field when it's not the main phase. Because when you play cards like Dark Hole and anything during the main phase, he can like jump and then banish a card out of your hand. So you want to make sure you time any effect that can either negate his effect or pop him off the field during any other phase except the main phase, and he goes bye-bye. That is why the double Ghost Ogre, double Maxi, is a really decent 4-card hand trap to have inside your deck. Like I say, with the plethora of combos, having Goblin Dayberg, the Gigabyte. Oh, and this was also awesome too, that I noticed that I was able to do. Playing a spellcaster, special summoning out Gigabyte, and then going in and then using Birdman's effect to put Gigabyte back in my hand and re-special summon the Gigabyte. So let's say I had Trick Clown on board. I could special summon the Gigabyte, use Birdman's effect to put Gigabyte back in my hand, bring the Birdman to the field, re-special summon the Gigabyte. I can then synchro or exceed with the Trick Clown and the Gigabyte, and I would use monster effects such as Kistel or King of Feral Imps if I had went into Dark Rebellion or anything like that, just to pitch the Trick Clown into the graveyard. And either one I left on the field, let's say I exceeded, I would then have Birdman and I would be getting the Trick Clown back. I can then synchro into Moonlight Dragon. If I had synchroed first, then I just exceed after that. But that's the really cool thing you can do with that. And then, like I say, one of the decent combos is summon a Monk, pitch a spell, and get Sacred Crane or Star Drawing. But I really like getting Star Drawing so I can hit instant fusion off of it, so I can +2 that turn. And let's say I went into King of Feral Imps that turn, I was then +3 because then I then get to add a Gigabyte from my deck to my hand. And I would give this deck, I would give this deck a 6.5 out of 10. And I think that's fair enough for what the deck is capable of doing to an extent. Because when you look at a lot of big plays in the game, such as a one-turn Ultimate Falcon, this deck would really have a lot of trouble getting around that. Because a lot of times, either Ultimate Falcon, at least when I do it, is protected by cards like Raid Raptor Readiness or Booster Strix in hand. So even if you can exceed summon and then bring Berserk to equip to a monster to try to get over at 3500, which you would have to bring at least King of Feral Imps, Ragnar Zero or Dark Rebellion to the field, and then equip it with the Berserk so it can get 3500, at least 35 or more, to run into the Ultimate Falcon. If Booster Strix goes off, the only thing that can save itself is the Honor Arc, and Ultimate Falcon can come right back by banishing its Skip Force to the field, so it's still a plausible threat. And if they can like out the Berserk that's equipped, then you're back in hot water again. And Ultimate Falcon is unaffected by no other card effects, so not even your Thousand Eyes Restrict or Moonlight Dragon, Scarlight, none of them are actually going to save you in that situation. So I rate the decks based on their ability to counter the biggest set of plays in the game if they were made first turn. Because those things, it isn't like they're impossible, because there are players now that you're seeing more often than not, and people are now going into a more of a turbo phase into their deck where they want to speed out those combos. It does have its downsides when you play in turbo versions, because the only focus it does is bring out its primary source, such as, like I say, a one-turn Ultimate Falcon. If it's up against Kaijus, You know, going into a one-turn Ultimate Falcon is a waste of 3 cards because you're going to use your Lastrix, your Satellite Cannon Falcon, and then you're going to play your Rank Up Magic just to get your Ultimate Falcon, which is a waste of 3 cards when they can play 1 Kaiju and then out that. But the deck is really decent. Like I said, it's above average. I rate average at 4. Anything that's 5 or higher is above average. I rate average at 4. Anything below 4 is just poor dueling strategy or deck construction, just so you guys know. So anything 5 or higher, it gets a little bit of respect in terms of play and strategy. I gave this deck a 6.5. It almost got a 7. The reason why it did not get a 7, and I'll explain why. This deck runs 2 Summoner Monks, and decks that run multiple copies of Summoner Monk, your spell card access should always be greater, much greater than your trap. Like this runs 12 spells, 6 traps. So in an instance when you open up, you may end up opening up with 2 traps and no spells. Therefore you can't even utilize your Summoner Monk effect right off the bat. So whenever I utilize Summoner Monk, I like to run anywhere from 14 to 16 spells so that my combo with Summoner Monk is always efficient. I'd be able to summon a monk, pitch a dead spell, and that is why I like running multiple copies of cards so that I actually want to see. And like, let's say I pick up triple brilliant, right? I can play a single brilliant. I can then summon a monk, pitch the second brilliant, and because I run 3 twin twisters as my back row destruction of choice, I can then pitch the third dead brilliant into the graveyard to destroy 2. As well as this deck runs MST, and for this game MST is not as efficient as twin twisters, and with his deck capability of being able to pitch Perform Pull, Trick Clown into the graveyard using twin twisters, what you say, Shimmy? Using twin twisters would be more effective, as well as he can also pitch cards like Star Drawing and Sacred Green, so he can like go off a Soul Charge effect or play Instant Fusion to bring the Star Drawing back and get that +1. Like you know, he can even pitch off his Summoner Monk, play Soul Charge, pitch another dead spell, and then, you know, get Sacred Green, Star Drawing, draw, and he hasn't even used his normal summon yet. And that isn't even the combo with Gigabyte and Gen X Birdman or Goblin Day Bird, because if you go off Goblin Day Bird and then go another, let's say any spellcaster Lila, you can then use Lila's effect to pop one in the back row, special summon Gigabyte, use Birdman's effect, put Gigabyte in hand, get your Birdman, special summon back your Gigabyte, and then just go off on your opponent. Like, you know, that's besides the using Soul Charge of pitching your Summon a monk to the graveyard and then pitching a dead spell, and in all those situations you do get all those odds, because remember now that Summon a monk is going to ditch a spell to get you either Sacred Crane or Star Drawing, so you're going to +1. You go into King of Fairy Limbs to add the Gigabyte. Let's say you did not add the Gigabyte, and then you just complete that same phase of going into Goblin Day Bird, Lila, Gigabyte, and Birdman. The deck really, it's like once the deck gets going, like it makes it troublesome for your opponent. And the fact that he does run 3 strikes 1 warning is what got it to that 6.5, because that is an awesome trap lineup, as well as bottomless. Those 5 trap cards alone that he placed were genius. I kid you not. If there are any 5 trap cards you should run inside this game, it should always be bottomless, 3 strikes 1 warning. Any additional trap card to make 6, I would recommend Compulsory Evacuation Device. The main reason why is if your opponent goes into like a trip, like using 3 4s to go into a rank 4 or 3 5s, or you know, 1 tuner, 2 non-tuners, or however, you can use that 1 trap card to bounce that 1 monster back that they use 3 monsters for. And with cards that cannot be like destroyed by card effects, using compulsory gets you out of those situations, such as Bale's King of Diabolical Dragons. You can just compulsory that back, stuff like that. And it's really excellent on being able to be timed with your opponent plays. You can also save your own monsters that you may need on the field in terms of your field presence. Let's say you have a face-up Summoner Monk on the field. Your opponent tries to nuke the board. You can compulse your Summoner Monk back into your hand and, resummon the unit's effect again. So, that oven compulse can work either way in your favor, either bouncing your opponent's monster back to its extra deck, slowing them down from synchro or exceed summoning, or bouncing a monster from your side of the field back in your hand and then regaining its effect like Summon a Monk. And that's really why the deck got and another reason why it got a 6.5 is because of the Darkhold Raigeki. Like, it has decent field clearance. He doesn't have to wait on that, he only has one Raigeki, so it's now a 1 in 40 chance. The deck has decent draw power as well as add power, as it can keep your hand from, hitting 0 and then, leaving you having to wait 2-3 turns to either build up and counter an opponent. So, like I said, that's really great, as well as just having double Moxie, double Ghost Ogre really speeds up the deck in terms of drawing and your ability to counter your opponent if they go off first turn. So, and I really like this guy because, like, when I opened up with him, because I had no monsters, I could special summon, and how my opponent had like a 3-card back row and he's a 2100 beta, like, that was excellent because now I have a 2100 beta on board that is applying pressure. So I then get to test my opponent back row, and I don't mind if I lose him because his defense is 0 and he's comboed well with this guy right here, Masked Chameleon. And even though this is not my deck, like I said, the more familiar I get with, playing stuff like this, like, I literally just took the screenshot, put this together, and as soon as I put it together, I started the broadcast. And the more I play with, regardless of whose deck it is, I begin to, seek out what is the most effective place, what is going to keep the deck going, and, what to expect, as well as my ability to be able to read my opponent. It slows down my ability. I think I misplayed once where I went into Black Rose Starlight when I should have actually gone into 101 to equip Berserk to take out Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Tree, the Synchro 10 that cannot be targeted. I only made that one misplay. Everything else was well calculated to the T. Yeah, it got a 6.5, and I don't think there's any reason to even argue to say that it could have been higher. I mean, it could have been if, like, this was Twin Twister. This would have gotten a 7 automatically because it would have given the deck enough back row clearance power to be able to just go off. Because, like I said, being able to Twin Twister and pitch cards opens up your soul charge. Such as, let's say if he were to go off, right, and he used double Twin Twister and pitched 2 star drawings into the graveyard, right? Going off of soul charge, bringing them back, and then normal summoning a Summoner Monk to pitch a dead spell to get Sacred Crane, then allows you to go +3 in that situation. When you exceed with these two, you would automatically +1 off the special summon, and if you go into King of Fairlamps, you then +4 as you get Gigabyte to the hand. And then depending on how many monsters you have in the graveyard, going into Emerald then recycles and allow you to draw another one, so you then go +5 in that situation. So, like I said, if these two MSTs were Twin Twister, I would have given this a 7 right off the bat. Monster Slot was really useful in some situations. I mean, it banished the monster of the graveyard, which I would have much preferred it to stay, so that you could open up with bigger soul charge plays, but it's a give and take. It does allow you to add the top card of your deck to your hand, and if it's a level 4, you can special summon it. So let's say Sacred Crane was top deck. When this was activated, then you get a +1 off that as well, which is a decent combo. I just don't like the fact that it actually requires you targeting a level 4 in the graveyard, because then opening up first turn with this, like, this isn't Twin Twister, so you can't even pitch right off the bat to get a level 4 in the grave, but you can go into a rank 4, pitch off its effect, such as King of Fairlamps and other level 4 in grave to hit this off. But the bad part is the one that you pitch has to get banished to activate this effect, and that's what I don't like. The upstart is really cool. You can actually use it in combination with Summoner Monk, so that your opponent, this allows you to draw 1, right? If you pitch it off Summoner Monk's effect to get Star Drawn or Sacred Crane, it's like playing this card, but your opponent doesn't get the 1000 and thinning out your deck. So you can use it like that. And the extra deck is really nice because you do have access to Rafflesia. So if you don't open up with any traps, you can go 2 level 4s Rafflesia, and now it's like having bottomless and I think this nightmare. Yeah, trap hole nightmare from your deck. You know, almost as if they were invisible face down on the field. So that's really good for defense, as well as Berserk to power up your Exceed monsters. Heartland Draco, so that you can actually attack your opponent directly. Castell, so you can shoot monsters or any face-up card on your opponent's side of the field back. That can be targeted by an effect, by the way. And because he has Abyss Dwell in the deck, he can then neutralize Atlantean effects, BA effects in the graveyard. Anything that has an effect that activates in the graveyard, he can then neutralize that. He has Scarlight, which is excellent. So if your opponent like Pendulum summons and all of their monsters are like 3,000 or less, like you can just go off, clear that, they get burned for 2,500, and then you can punch them directly in the face for another 3k. And it also has access to Moonlight Dragon, which is also excellent against decks that special summon high level monsters, and you know, just puts them right back in on and forces your opponent to have to summon them again, like such as Blue Eyes. So that's really excellent. And with Thousand Eyes Restrict as like that trump card that you would never see coming, like instant fusion, Thousand Eyes Restrict, and then just take your opponent's monster, whether it's face up, face down, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I think that's about it for the deck. Like, there is really nothing more I could say, but I would cut the Dictomy. There was at no point in time that I actually got this. I don't feel that there is no need for this, as this is not a synchro deck. Synchro decks would really utilize this because they can go through a lot of their monsters, and there can be a turn where you may not be able to attack your opponent, so you just use this anyway, such as going off in your first turn, like open up with a first turn Quasar, then you play part of Dictomy, recycle 3 of your monsters, draw 2 cards, and because it's the first turn and you then can't battle, like all you do is recycle 3, draw 2. So yeah, 6.5 out of 10. I really feel that's fair. If you guys disagree with that, you know, you can let me know. Like I said, welcome all of your opinions and comments. You can let me know how you feel. You know, everyone is entitled to their opinion. I would never knock your opinion. If you feel the deck deserves a 10, you know, that's by your standings. It's, you know, not up for debate. The only thing is that when it ends up in those situations that I calculate what a deck should be able to take on first turn, when you encounter that and then you see how inefficient the deck is, I mean, unless you're gonna up your scale from a 10 to like a 20 to say that, all right, you gave that deck like a 10 or a 20, you know, like, you know, if you can give a deck a 10, it should be able to get out of a majority of the troublesome situations that can occur first turn. Anything else, like out of those situations that are much slower, you know, the deck should be able to deal with. But you really want to look for like the biggest plays that can happen first turn, and then a deck's ability to then counter that or out that. I don't know if Nadeem's watching. I haven't seen him popped up with anything to say in the chat on the comment section. I guess whenever he watches the video, he'll let me know exactly what he thinks or what he feels his deck should have gotten. But like I said, based on a lot of opening boards that can occur or that occur often, like, I have to evaluate decks by that, because when those plays do come where opponents open up that big, and it, like I said, is happening more often than not, because duelists are now going into like this mini turbo phase. Not all decks are like completely turbo, but they're just making it faster for consistency reasons, which, you know, I do recommend and I understand. So you want to be aware of that, so that you don't get caught in those boards where, alright, you're playing and then you can't get over that when your opponent goes off first turn. But that's it for the deck. That's my personal opinion, my rebuttal, my comments. Like I said, if you guys feel the deck deserves, you know, higher than a 6.5 out of 10, you know, you guys can let me know, and you can give your reasons why you feel it deserves to be rated higher, or if you feel it deserves to be rated lower, you know, you can give your opinions why, because you may see loopholes, you may come across, you know, other different kinds of combinations that could really threaten the deck or throw the deck off. and see if this deck really had a way to deal with like burn damage, because this does run a decent amount of spellcasters, being being sorceress, summoner monk, and star drawing, as well as trick clown. If he had any what it is, perform page, the exceed, the what's he called now? Where is he? He should be radio. This guy, Trumpy's Magician. If he had this in the deck, I would have given the deck a 7. The reason why I would have given it a 7, if he had that in there, if he had that and Twin Twisters in, I would have actually given the deck a 7.5. And the reason being is, now if his opponent is like using burn effects to burn him, because of Trumpy's Magician's effect, he cannot take any effect damage that is 2500 or less. So now he has a decent way, if his opponent is stalling to burn, to counter, getting burned. So I would have given the deck an immediate 7 if he had that in the extra deck, just that alone. And on top of that, its effect gives another Exceed monster 2 attacks during the battle phase. So you can imagine, and Witch's deck has plenty power to be able to go into 3 rank 4s in a single turn. Like, it awesome. Like I tell you, Goblin de Burg, summon a monk. Off of that summon a monk, you would pitch a spell, get the star drawing. Off the star drawing, you would then Exceed summon, get Gigabyte to add the Gigabyte by overlaying the star drawing and the Goblin de Burg to add the Gigabyte. Summon a monk is in play. You would then Gigabyte, overlay with Gigabyte, summon a monk, and then you would, depending on what effect you use, let's say you use just random Abyss Dweller. You just use his effect just to send any of the level 4s to the graveyard. Then play Instant Fusion. You then get Norden. Let's say you pitch star drawing. You then get another draw and 3 rank 4s in play. Also, let's say you went into Dark Rebellion, King of Fairylands, because you added the Gigabyte and the Ragnar Zero. You can use Dark Rebellion's effect to weaken the opponent's monster by half. Ragnar Zero's effect to pop that monster, draw a card, and you now have 3 rank 4s on board. And the combinations of rank 4s and 3s that you can bring, it just gives you versatility and options, because you can also go into Berserk to power up. You can go 101 to take, you can go into Kistel to shoot swords off the field, So because it has that synergy to be able to make 3 rank 4s in a single turn, if he had Trumpy's Magician, you can have then gone into Trumpy's Magician instead of the Ragnar Zero and made Trumpy's Magician, Dark Rebellion, Exceed Dragon, King of Fair Olymps. Dark Rebellion would then cut the opponent's monster attack in half. Let's say the opponent's attack was, let's say, 3k. That would give Dark Rebellion 1500, making his total 4k. You can then use Trumpy's Magician's effect to make your Dark Rebellion attack twice. You then have a 25 beta, 23, and a 4k beta that can now attack twice, which should out your opponent for game in a single turn. And that is why I said if he had Trumpy's Magician in there alone, like, that would have been awesome. Let's say he already had Gigabyte in hand and he didn't need to add that. He could have then used Berserk. Use Berserk effect to banish 2 cards out of your opponent's graveyard, then equip it to the Dark Rebellion, who was already 4k, to carry it up to 52. Use Performance Magician's effect to make that same 5200 beta attack twice. You now have a 2500 52 that can attack twice. You now have over over 10k damage you can inflict on board, besides your 2500 Trumpy's Magician. So that's why I said if he had Trumpy's Magician, I would automatically give the deck a 7. Even without the Twin Twisters, I would have given the deck a 7, just because it had a way to counter being burnt to death. But 6.5, I feel it's fair. Like I say, you guys are comments, criticisms, and opinions are always welcome on my channel. You can let me know how you feel. That'll be it for this live stream. If you guys want me to come right back on and do another live stream and some more dueling, any of you guys can just message me on my inbox, and I'll just come right back on and just do another live stream for you guys. Anything you guys want to know, want to hear, would like to be informed about, card tips, strategies, whatever it may be, you can let me know. I can come right back on. I can fill you in. And until next time, later.